let's queer up the USA view. Hotspots Happening Out honors Juneteenth. Juneteenth is a federal holiday in the United States commemorating the emancipation of enslaved African Americans. Deriving its name from combining June and the 19th, it is celebrated on the anniversary of the order by Major General Gordon Granger proclaiming freedom for enslaved people in Texas on June 19, 1865. The year 2023 marks the 158th anniversary of their freedom. Originating in Galveston, Juneteenth has since been observed annually in various parts of the United States, often broadly celebrating African American culture. The day was first recognized as a federal holiday in 2021 when President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law after the efforts of Lula Briggs Galloway, Opal Lee, and others. The holiday is considered the longest-running African American holiday and has been called America's second Independence Day. Therefore, Happening Out honors Juneteenth and African Americans for their contributions to American history, especially our LGBTQ community. Juneteenth is usually celebrated on the third Saturday in June. Historian Mitch Kachun suggests that celebrations of the end of slavery have three goals: to celebrate, to educate, and to agitate. It's interesting to me that Juneteenth is, it seems to me a reflection of how difficult it is to get Americans to pay attention to what's going on in the world. It takes a long time. I didn't realize that it had been 2 years for this to be a federal holiday. I didn't realize that the banks and the post office, until Glenn told me, are closed. Well, silly on my part that I don't think about it. But it's an example of it takes a long time to get the train moving or to slow the train down. And that's what a reflection of Juneteenth is. But it's a very important representation.
Where were you on June 19th, 1865?
Oh my God.
I was having high tea at your plantation home in Mobile.
At your mama's house. That's where he was.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's so important. Juneteenth is so important, especially for, our Black American, siblings, right? And, they say that there was 4th of July and then there's also Juneteenth. And, now more than ever, we need to shine and show our strength in numbers. And Juneteenth is a day to do that. So next Juneteenth, my ass will not be sitting in this chair because I'm taking the day off. I deserve it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 12% Nigerian.
But what's so interesting is that growing up in the Northeast and stuff, nowhere did I ever hear about this holiday until a couple of years ago.
Never.
I did not know it existed. It was not taught to me. Most people didn't. And the fact
most
that
white people did not,
right.
For sure.
Yeah, and I just find it fascinating that suddenly, we're all being made aware of something we should have all known about all this time, and we weren't.
But I have a lot of friends who the reason they know about it, not because they got it in school, because they didn't, but because they got it from their families. Stories told from their grandmothers, et cetera, et cetera.
It also doesn't help that it's in summertime. So there's no real units on it in schools, even if we were allowed to teach African American history, Black history, which we're not in the state of Florida. But it's, in my opinion, of the two Independence Days that are roughly 2 weeks apart, it's the most important one. But the thing is, both holidays are still laden with lofty promises that remain unfulfilled. And we're still going back and fighting battles that we thought we had won. Just this past week, Michael Pence and Governor DeSantis have both pledged to rename Fort Freedom Fort Bragg, which honors a traitor from the Civil War from 150 years ago. They just want to change it back because of political correctness. No, slavery was incorrect. Right. And you want to go back to it. You want us to refight all the civil rights of the last 50, 60, 70 years. That's where we're at. And that's why this important holiday needs to be recognized more.
Just a very quick anecdote of something that happened to me. I'm the antithesis of representation of Juneteenth, with the exception to recognize it, in terms of participation. I went to Midland Medical today for lab work, and the phlebotomist that did blood work on me was a Black woman. And as she's doing it, we're talking about Midland and Can, and we talked about Pride Fort Lauderdale. She brought it up, and Can Midland's sponsorship, etc. She had seen me on the stage on Saturday with you. And at one point in the conversation, as I was getting ready to leave, I said, "Happy Juneteenth." She almost fell into the floor, and she was shocked that I would say that to her. It completely
That you knew it
caught-
altogether?
That you knew.
that I knew, and that I would wish her happy Juneteenth. And I just thought it was interesting because the expectation of me from her was so low on this holiday that the mere mention of it was, wow, I can't believe. And then I thought, oh, that's really sad. That's where we are.
So folks at home, if you have not been able to commemorate Juneteenth, there's still time. There's an event today that's being thrown on by the Legacy Builders Showcase, and it's going to be over at the LA Lee YMCA. Go on over and check it out. It's going to be from 7 to 9 p.m. Dale and I are going to head over there after the show to commemorate Juneteenth. It's important.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show from Happening Out Television Network. In the model of PBS and NPR, we educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of the LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the stories going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.